And we're here at the 2013 edition of Dixon's Gunmakers Fair. It's at the Dixon Muzzleloading shop. And some of the finest craftsmen in the country come here to display their wares, have them judged. Also vendors, reenactors. It's quite the do. Well, the heart of this event is the judging that goes on for the various custom-made rifles. And there are a number of categories from professional builders to first-timers. And this is really the crucial part of the event because it really brings all these gun makers together. And I've been coming to this most times since 1981 when it started. I think I've only missed 4 of them. And I've really seen the whole phenomenon of rifle building here in America grow and mature, and I really think that this event has had a lot to do with it. Area for rifles for this year, and as usual, there are just some gorgeous examples here. The rifles are the undisputed main event here at Dixon's Gunmakers Fair, but there's also judging for accoutrements like bags and like powder horns. And some of the top makers in the country come here and enter their creations to get them judged. Now, these are just some of the horns that are being judged. Just beautiful work being done here. One of the neat aspects about Dixon's Gunmakers Fair is that it's not just about static displays and judging completed rifles. You can actually learn a lot here. It's full of seminars. There are a whole host of topics on rifle building or accoutrement making or the history of certain forms. So there's a lot of opportunity to actually do some classroom learning. And a lot of the craftsmen are here working on their projects in their booths, so you can see people making guns or engraving patch boxes or making powder horns. It's just fascinating, and you can really learn a lot of useful tips for your own projects. We're running a demonstration of an actual 18th century rifling machine. As you can see, it's a pretty popular spot. And one of the beauties of being here is you can actually see some of the craftsmen working on their rifles. A lot of events are dedicated to reenactors, but the Rifle Makers Fair here at Dixon's is really dedicated to craftsmen.
Yeah. I'm a carpenter for trade, so.
Right? Yeah, that's good. You got some beautiful stuff here, too. There are just some beautiful horns here. Just fantastic detail work. Well, this is a place that makes it all possible, Dixon's Muzzleloading shop. It's actually surrounded by the tents and exhibits and the crowds. It's kind of buried in here, but this is basically the heartbeat of this event. This is the inside of Dixon's Muzzleloading shop. There's so many people in here today, you can hardly move around, but there's plenty of shopping going on. But all the shopping isn't in here. There are a number of big tents and pavilions with lots of sutlers and craftsmen set up. So take a look at some of those. Of course, there are plenty of custom rifle makers here, but there are also powder horn makers, knife makers, and people who forge and build just about every kind of accoutrement you could think of for the muzzleloading and historical reenacting community. So it's a good chance to get a little shopping in for handmade items that you just aren't going to find in any typical store. If, like me, you're building a flintlock rifle, coming to the fair is a great place to look at a lot of varieties and to look at the kind of rifle that you might be building yourself and get an idea of how things go together on a finely made example of it. Well, this is finally my chance to get a look at a Bucks County rifle in the flesh so I can figure out a little bit more about the patch boxes. You never know who you're going to run into here at the Gunmakers Fair. I ran into Peter Alexander, And Peter is the author of The Gunsmith of Grenville County, which I think is the best book that you can buy for building American long rifles. And Peter was here autographing copies of the book and selling some of the rifles he made. And we had a really good conversation. Well, that wraps up our look at the 2013 Dixon's Gunmakers Fair. Maybe I'll see you here in 2014.